Welcome to this video tutorial where we'll be talking about My Data Portal and giving you an overview on the functionality and how to navigate through My Data Portal. So first of all, you have your navigation on the left hand side of My Data Portal. So you have Dashboard, My Sites, Graphing, Manage Users, Manage Sites and Manage Tags. So under the Dashboard function, this is your homepage for all your alarms from the multiple sites. So you may have a number of sites on your My Data Portal. You can either see all sites at once on this drop down, or you can navigate to a specific site. So you can see if you wanted to zone in on a specific site. Alternatively, if it's set to all sites, you then have real-time status. So this is alarms that this is a current sensor status, so how many sensors are okay or how many are actually in alarm. You also have open alarms, so this is alarms that have happened and haven't been acknowledged in the system, and total alarms over a time period. So you could have a look at the last 24 hours, you could have a look at the last 7 days, 30, 60 or 90 days. Each one of these sections is interactive, so if you were to click into any one of these, you can then see how many sensors are okay, and then you can further drill into this. You can see which areas are performing. And as you drill into it, you can then actually open a dialog box which shows you a small graph of that particular sensor and what the current readings are. On the contrary, on alarms, you can then click into in this case, let's have a look at the last 7 days. You can then click onto which site is performing the worst in this case, and click on there. And you can say which sites are performing bad, or which sensors in that site. And that way you can further drill into any temperature issues by opening a graph on that particular alarm. There is also the option to change the view into the site view. This is the same as My Sites here on the left hand navigation. So this will give you a snapshot overview of all the sites you've got loaded onto your system. And again, you can see how many alarms per site. Or if you wanted to look into one particular site in more detail, you can then click View. This will then take you to all the sensors on that site and show you the current readings and the current temperatures, and allow you to generate reports from these sensors. So for example, you can click on the small graph icon on the left here. You can then select a day or a particular time period. Click Show. This will generate the graph for that particular sensor from that site. You can also add multiple sensors to there at this point as well. Just going back to My Sites, there is also the option when you go onto a site, we'll take this one for example, on the top right, you could actually change the view to look at a card view, or you can have a look at a site plan. So if you were to upload a site plan, which we'll come on to shortly, you could overlay those sensors onto the site plan. This is a great tool for a visual overview of the site and which sensors are in alarm. Some sites have this open as a separate tab on your browser, so anyone walking past could see any sensors that are in alarm status at any one point. Under graphing, this is where you can navigate straight to a particular sensor if you're particularly interested, or a particular site, and in that way you can drill into any particular sensor and view a graph of that sensor. Under Manage Users, this is users for My Data Portal rather than the base station itself. So here you can add new users to the My Data Portal, and you can give them an access level of either administrator or just a user. And then once you've added that user, you can then select whether they receive report notifications or offline notifications. You can also, under that user, give them specific site access. And this is where you can then change, I want, say for this user particular here, you can say I want them to have access to these sites here, or it might just be 1 or 2 specific sites. So that's user management. Under managed sites, this is where you were to, if you were to have multiple sites, again this is where you would add site. You would have done this on the initial setup, but if you were to add more sites, you can do this here, or delete sites out of your My Data Portal system. You can also rename them, and this is where, if you were to click into a particular site, this is where you can add a site plan. So this way you can see a plan view of the site. And you can also manage users that have access to that site as well. There is the option to add tags to alarms. This will give further functionality in the future to different functions. There's also report settings as well. So with this, on the report settings, you can enable a 24-hour alarm report, which gets emailed to you once a day, which will have a summary of all the alarms from the different sites that have been triggered over the last 24 hours. The same with offline notifications, or you can set to have it as a weekly alarm report instead. Hopefully this video gives a good overview of the My Data Portal system. Of course, Clipspring are here to support. If you have any further questions, we'd be more than happy to help. Thank you.